Republican presidential hopeful Ben Carson is standing by his view that a Muslim should not be president of the United States. During an interview with The Hill on Sunday, Carson said whoever takes the White House should be, quote, sworn in on a stack of Bibles, not a Koran. This, for obvious reasons, Jose, is a pretty controversial statement, and it's also caused quite a bit of a stir on social media. He went on to say that the only way a Muslim should be president is if they publicly rejected all tenets of Sharia law. I guess that wouldn't make them very Muslim anymore, but look, you can't be that blunt. Let's just be honest. This is a secular country, but I kind of get where he's going with that. I mean, if we're talking about Sharia law, that wouldn't really work in this country if we're talking about somebody who follows that, you know. Sharia law is the Islamic legal system. It's derived more from religious prophecy as opposed to, you know, human legislation. So I get where he's going. I mean, we're talking about America where we literally use, you know, naked Paris Hilton's and Kate Upton's boobs to do commercials for Carl's Jr. to sell cheeseburgers. So I can understand where there's no place for religious prophecy. But at the same time, though, we're talking about America. We're talking about a secular country where, you know, I think most people would share this opinion. The way that I think is that, you know, it's not really about your religion. It's more about your brain and how smart you are, not about what religion you are. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't agree with that. And in this country, it really does matter what religion you are, right? Because sort of when Obama was running, I kind of felt like he was kind of pushing the whole church and Christianity thing a little bit more than he really felt, because it was bad enough, it was hard enough for him that he was black. He also had to really prove that he wasn't Muslim because, God forbid, you know, someone should run for president and have the middle name Hussein. So what do you think? I mean, is he right, or is he being way too blunt? I mean, what do you think about this, Jose?
What I think is this is what happens on the Republican primary when you have this overcrowded group of people trying to elect, and what they're doing is just following Donald Trump. If Donald Trump comes out and creates this controversy about Muslims in America, then he comes and he expands on the subject because he needs to get some notoriety. We have to understand the crowd that he's speaking to. He's speaking to the base of most conservative, Christian, Republican voters that will respond to this type of discourse. Now, the reality, just like you mentioned, is that the whole point of America, of the freedoms that this country offers to the world and to their citizens, is that no matter your background, you have a chance to become a president. You have a chance to have the American dream. So, in that sense, I think he is propagating this anti-Muslim, Islamophobia sentiment that Muslims are dangerous and we have to put them apart. We've seen what happened with the student. We've seen what happened with the shootings. It just continues this tradition of pitting Christianity against Muslims, like if there was a real cultural war, where we need to be working towards unity, towards working together, because if they choose to live in this country and they follow the laws of this country, no matter what their religion is, they have their place in this country and should be respected.
I mean, don't you think we should be talking about more important things when it comes to the GOP? I mean, look, you have the far left over here talking about, you know, free universities, free healthcare, following the lead of these Scandinavian countries that are doing so well in that field, healthcare included. Meanwhile, on the right, all they seem to really be talking about with the Republicans is that fence that we want to build. Yes. Should a Muslim be president? Should not? That guy who spoke out at the Trump, when Trump was speaking, he said, you know, we got a real problem. You know, we got the Muslims in this country. They want to attack our country, blah, blah, blah. Our president is a Muslim. Obviously, Donald Trump failed to correct him. Yeah. I mean, even McCain, I remember a long time ago, some woman was like, I don't trust that Obama fella. He's an Arab. And McCain took the mic and was like, no, ma'am, he's a family guy. You know, we just happen to disagree on certain issues. Even McCain was responsible enough, but Donald Trump wasn't able to do that. So he's kind of taken this whole race to a place where it shouldn't be, because there's so many more important things. And here we are talking about, you know, this guy who came out and said, you know, no, I do not think very openly that the Muslim president should be Muslim. And then that's what everyone's talking about, when in reality there's so many more important things. There's so many other things that this country lacks that other countries have. And you think of us as the world leader. So there's, for me, the much more important stuff that we should be talking about, not where Donald Trump is taking it.
I think you hit it right on the head. This is what's happening when someone like Donald Trump is leading on the polls, and it's kind of you know, being the center of the discourse, and he's appealing, and then, you know, the rest of the candidates are following suit to the most basic primitive instincts of voters: fear, mainly fear, fear of immigrants, fear of different, fear of change. I think that as long as they continue to follow the lead of Donald Trump in terms of let's not worry about the details, let's not worry about the policy, let's get people all riled up through fear, through misinformation, and then we can have a primary that it's up for grabs, because the more you become an outsider, and if you see it, they all share that same element. Trump, Carson, and Fiorina. This idea that the base of the Republican Party is disenchanted with the career-long politicians, and these guys that are new and they haven't been elected to office, they seem to be fresh, and they seem to be talking about the issues that traditionally, raised politicians, they have a different way of coming and approaching these subjects, not the bluntness and the fear-mongering that these candidates are pushing around.
Right, I mean, and look at the kind of people that you attract with the fear-mongering. I'm sorry to say this, but it's usually the less educated people who are scared and terrified of the Muslims, that Iran's going to nuke us at any time, we're letting them do it. And look, I understand that Ben Carson is not a politician. I get it. He's not used to, saying things in a diplomatic way, let's say. But we want to know what you guys have to say about Ben Carson coming out and saying that a Muslim should not be the president of this country. Is he right? Is he wrong in a secular country like the U.S.? Let us know in the comments below, and if you haven't already, subscribe to Live TV for more.